You Only Live Twice was the fifth Eon Productions James Bond movie, and it followed Thunderball. Many things in You Only Live Twice are obvious. But what did you miss? Well, here are 20 things you missed in You Only Live Twice. Hi, this is Dan.
And Tom.
From Cracking the Code of Spy Movies. Be sure to stick around to the end, as we have a couple of very cool bonuses for you. All right, check out our website at spymovienavigator.com, and for sure, subscribe to our show right now. That really helps us out, and you won't miss knowing what new episode is coming out. All right, yes, it's time to find the things we missed in You Only Live Twice.
Now, these things we're talking about you missed are continuity errors, other errors, or our favorite, things that aren't errors, but we have some background to fill in for you that you probably didn't know.
Yeah, all right, let's start. We don't have to go far into the movie to get our first one. This is in the pre-title, and some of the words that we hear, this is like 46 seconds into the movie. Within the first minute, literally, we have the astronauts aboard Jupiter 16 communicating with mission control, saying,
Calling Cape Com. Cape Com, this is Jupiter 16. Can you give a go for fourth orbit?
Cape Com to Jupiter 16. Can you confirm O2 pressure is within limit?
All right, you heard that, right? Cape Com, Cape Com.
At one point, I thought it said Cape Con, too. It's just,
yeah,
they weren't even consistent with that.
Yeah, the problem is NASA used only the term Capcom, short for capsule communicator, not Capecom, ever. They never said that. So this is a big mistake right up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we're talking about mispronunciation here, again with this communications team, we get another one where we have an interesting pronunciation.
Come in, please. Over.
Hello, Houston.
Hawaii.
We've lost all radio contact.
Hello, Houston? Hello, Houston? You mean the city in Texas, Houston, where Mission Control is located? Okay, I've never heard it pronounced Houston before this movie.
No.
Now, the actor there was Shane Rimmer.
Yeah.
He was in 3 James Bond movies and did a voiceover in another one. He was born in Canada, moved to London, so maybe that's why we get that pronunciation. But Houston? Now, if he'd been in New York, right, if this had been a New Yorker, he would have said Houston, because that's how Houston Street's pronounced, spelled the same
South
way.
of Houston, yes.
But Houston, I've never heard that. And
because it's wrong.
because it's wrong. And just for consistency, because we always talk about the fact that there's no continuity in James Bond movies, at an hour and 47 minutes into the movie, we get this.
Houston, this is Hawaii. We have an unidentified object on scope.
Again, Houston. Just cracks me up.
All right, there you go. That's number one. Number two, when Bond enters M's office on the ship, listen to this. Does Bond say, hello, Penny, and not Money Penny? To me, he just says Penny. Although this has been debated, I've listened to that bit 100 times. After he throws his hat onto the rack, and to my ears, and to the closed caption software too, he says, Penny, not Money Penny.
Yeah, I don't know if I do follow the closed caption stuff, but I totally agree with you. I've listened
Yeah, they're wrong a lot. Yeah.
And what we're going to do here is I'm going to play this 3 times in a row for you. You can make your own call, but to me, he distinctly says,
Hello, Penny.
You'd better go right in.
Hello, Penny. Hello, Penny.
it's definitely
no
hello, Penny, not hello,
No
Money
question.
Penny.
Yeah. I mean, now, Ian Fleming had James Bond call her Penny in the novel Moonraker, actually, which predates all of the James Bond movies, of course. So there is some Fleming background here that would make it quite acceptable in the movies, but it's never happened before in any of the Bond movies or after. So in my copy of Moonraker, it happens on page 16 when he asks her, new uniform, Penny? This happens just a couple of pages after he had a conversation with his secretary, Leolia Ponsonby, about calling her by the nickname Lil. So James Bond has no problem using nicknames when addressing women, at least in the books. But here, in the movies, we have never heard it before, and we haven't heard it after.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, this is the only time he calls her Penny in the Eon Productions movies. I've gone back and watched every Money Penny scene in the series, and this is the only time I heard it.
There you go.
And the funny thing about this, though, is that when we do these episodes, we try to do some research, make sure we're saying things correctly. So we're asking the different AI engines, in what James Bond movies did he call her Penny? And the answers you get is kind of crazy depending on the engine you're looking at. All of them expressly state that You Only Live Twice, he does not call her Penny. Yet we just heard he does call her Penny.
Yeah. The AI engines are wrong a lot.
Yeah, so if you go in there,
Trust
so if you look at Skyfall, one of them says, at the end of Skyfall, he looks at her Eve's Moneypenny's nameplate and says something like, "Hello, Penny." But if we actually play what he actually says...
You know, we've never formally been introduced.
Well, my name's Eve. Eve Moneypenny.
I look forward to our time together, Miss Moneypenny.
So I don't know where that one got it saying that he called her Penny there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, again, the AI engines are you cannot rely on what you get back from that.
Well,
kind of stuff.
They're scanning what people have written.
Yeah.
And
Right,
so
right.
somebody
That's
wrote
all.
that, right?
Right.
Now, another one that they say is like that is in Dr. No, at the beginning of Dr. No. And so when we see the two of them interact, Bond and Moneypenny, she slaps his hand because he's trying to pick at the papers, and we get this.
007 is here, sir. He'll see you in a minute.
Moneypenny.
The way he says Moneypenny, I think some people missed that he said money. But he definitely says Moneypenny.
He
there.
said Moneypenny. Yeah.
If you do use search engines to try to look up stuff like this, realize it's not always accurate. You come here, you hear it first. This is the only place in the Eon Productions series he calls her Penny.
Yeah, you're right. So if you want the truth, come here. Listen to us, Cracking the Code of Spy Movies. All right, let's get on to number 3. The third thing you missed in You Only Live Twice has to do with James Bond's clothes. Notice, at about 15 minutes into the movie, Bond emerges from the water after being launched from the submarine tube in a wetsuit. No other gear. He has no other gear with him. Then, about a half a minute later or less, he's walking in Tokyo in a nice gray suit. I was wondering, where was there a hotel room waiting for him with a lot of clothes and supplies for him? It's the kind of thing, these transitions that happen, is just boom. There you go. You got a wetsuit. Now you're in a nice.
Dan, come on. This is obviously an homage to Goldfinger. They just didn't show him taking the wetsuit off and the suit underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
It's kind of like the Scotsman in his kilt. You never know what he's got under there.
No.
Right.
No,
Now,
we're not going there.
I'm not sure where the shoes came from, but in all seriousness, the way they cut it, it does look like there was a long passage of time. So he probably had stuff waiting for him at the hotel.
Yeah, I would hope so. All right, number 4. Well, speaking of shoes, like you mentioned, we get to item number 4 here. This one isn't a continuity error, but it is about James Bond's shoes, and it is continuity well done.
Wow, continuity well done in a Bond movie. I'm all ears.
Yeah. About 20 minutes into the movie, you'll see James Bond takes his shoes off when he's entering with Aki at Henderson's building. And with not a continuity error, but props to the continuity team, because when Bond chases the man who killed Henderson and subdues him, he, again, only a few minutes later, he takes off the dead agent's shoes and other clothes to disguise himself. So he needed the shoes because his were back at Henderson's. How they could possibly fit is another story, but I love the concept.
I missed that one. I'm going to have to go rewatch that.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the video.
And we'll see him again with those shoes a little bit later. So I love that part, continuity stuff. Easy to miss when he's doing it, but there it is.
Okay, so we're at Henderson's place.
Yeah.
And Henderson's place is cleverly decorated. It's got Japanese style and Western style furniture, and it reflects Henderson's history and background. And he's been in Japan for 28 years, but he still has his Western roots. And I think that's really clever. Now notice the table and the chairs. Henderson acknowledges this mismatch between the Western and the Asian design choices.
Yeah.
Oh, you must excuse this rather odd mixture of styles, but I refuse to go entirely Japanese. Very fond of some of these old things.
Now, to me, that's a really nice touch because it's fairly, I would assume it's fairly common for people who move into a new culture to try to hang on to some of their old culture. Mm-hmm. But it's an easy thing to miss, even with him making that comment. Did you miss it?
Yeah, and I love that they did it, because it would have been easier to not do that and just make it all Japanese or whatever. But the concept and the continuity piece there was great, and him saying it was great. But it is easy to miss. All right, we're still at Henderson's.
Okay, this is only a 2.5 minute scene, and we've got now our third thing we're going to talk about.
Third thing at Henderson's. Henderson is mixing a drink for Bond, and he says,
Oh, that's stirred, not shaken. That was right, wasn't it?
Perfect.
Perfect. Cheers, Bond says. Now, Bond has never been to Japan before. He told that to Henderson when he asked. And so it's remarkable that this British agent, Henderson, knows anything about what an MI6 agent like Bond wants to drink. Heck, he's been in Japan 28 years, he said. There's no reasonable explanation why Henderson gets it wrong and why Bond says perfect.
No, I disagree with you. These guys get briefed before things happen. Right? Henderson knows Bond's coming. He's been briefed. Bond knows which leg to hit to verify it's Henderson. And given Bond's proclivity towards his favorite drinks, Henderson would have been briefed about that.
But he got it wrong, even if he was briefed. How about that? Now, in the novels, I'll say in the novels, Bond does not always call out shaken, not stirred. In Casino Royale, the first novel, he spells out how to make a Vesper, and he does say shaken. In other novels, though, he stirs or does not call it out. So, okay.
Yeah, but I think here there's a different intent.
What is it?
Bond had the briefing. He knew which leg to hit in Henderson, which leg was bad.
Yeah.
But here, Henderson gets the drink wrong. He doesn't keep his furniture correct to the styling of where he's living. And to me, this foreshadows that Henderson misses things right up to the point when he's standing with his back against the wall and it's over for him. He definitely got that one wrong. I think this was a little foreshadowing.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's a stretch. Number 7, we're going to get to Tanaka's office now. You know, the secret office. So after the Osato escape, where Bond knocks out the big guy who carried him in, and he cracks the safe, Aki picks him up, then she stops, and Bond chases her. So when Bond took off the agent's shoes after knifing him after Henderson was killed, remember he had no shoes? Those shoes were black and white. And clearly here, when he's sliding down the chute and into Tanaka's office when he lands, yes, the shoes are black and white. Now,
well, what you're really seeing are spats. This is
the
something
white part.
that
Oh,
the
yeah,
white
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah, this is something we used to have here in the U.S. a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were still popular in the 60s. They fit over the shoes. They're not part of the shoes. And you can see the band of it that holds them onto the shoe, under the shoe.
Yeah.
So when Bond's getting the stuff off of the thug, he throws everything to the side. We don't see him putting the shoes on, but the spats are still on. So I do like that continuity, that the spats were on the thug, and now Bond has them on.
Yeah. And they definitely are spats. And they were popular in the U.S. in the 1920s at least. And in Japan in the early 20th century as part of a military uniform. So what is this guy doing wearing spats? I don't know. But anyway, the continuity is there. Love it. Again, props to the props team.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this continuity because it's something we don't normally see in Bond movies.
Yeah.
Later in the series, they might not have gotten this right, but here they did. Most people probably missed the detail because, I mean, who looks at people's shoes? That's actually a line from Shawshank Redemption. Nobody notices people's shoes. Here, his shoes are consistent throughout.
Yeah. All right, number 8. We go to Tanaka's private train when Bond is served sake. And he says he prefers sake especially when it is served at the proper temperature, 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, well.
I like sake. Especially when it's served at the correct temperature. 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit, like this is.
That's pretty darn good, huh?
You gotta love it when he shows off his culinary and drink chops.
He's a worldly guy. But JapaneseFoodReports.com says, so what's the right temperature to drink sake? As Mr. Kanei explains, it really depends on the particular kind of sake. Now that we have such a bounty of incredible sake available today, Now, he noted 8 temperature ranges, but as a rule of thumb, he said, you can't go wrong with drinking any sake at room temperature. Here are a couple of other general guidelines, he said. So there you have it. Mr. Bond got it pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, and in 1967, there still were very many different kinds of sake. And yes, many of them were served basically at body temperature, or as Bond says, 98.4. So that would be a good fit.
Yeah.
So either Bond was really, really good, or as normal, well prepared. And it's good writing here to show us how worldly Bond is. Tanaka even tells him.
Yeah, and in reality, in 1967, there was a prevalence of warming sake as a trend, because most sake breweries, they fortified their sake with distilled alcohol due to the legacy of wartime rice shortages. So warming the sake helped to mask any of the sharp or unbalanced flavors that resulted from this process. So that's it. That's it for our sake lessons. And Bond, well, hey, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, I hope my son-in-law likes warm sake, so I hope he hasn't been holding back that he's a spy.
No. All right. Oh, and oh, by the way, when they show Tanaka's house, he's got a nice house.
Yeah, and when they're walking to the house, he still has the spats on. That continuity is fantastic.
See? All right. Let's go to number 9, Tom.
Okay, number 9. I particularly like it when Bond, when he's posing as Mr. Fisher, he's
Yes.
waiting in Mr. Osato's office, and he looks at the statue on the desk. Now, at that point in the movie, he had the fight with the thug. Now, this looks like the same statue he used to club that guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the same office the night before. So if you
Yes.
remember, during that fight, Bond hits the thug with this statue, pieces break off. He returns it to the desk with just the bottom half sitting of the statue left. Now, the next morning, he walks back in that room. The ripped walls are fixed. And he looks at the statue for quite a while because he's like, wait, this should be half of the statue. And you can see him thinking,
Yeah,
how did
I
they
love
fix
that.
it that fast? Or did they have another copy or something? It's an amusing moment. It's easy to miss. So
Yes.
to see it again unaltered when waiting for Osada, that was pretty cool. An easy detail to miss, but a very clever one.
Yeah, just look at Bond's face when he's looking at the statue. And he does it a couple times. It's really good.
Well, yeah,
that
and
office-
to me, you also have the hole in the walls gone.
yeah, you got all that. You had the couches that were thrown all over the place the night before and probably broken. I mean, the place was a total mess from the fight the night before. So not only is the statue repaired or replaced, but so is the rest of the office, which is pretty amazing. Of course, Mr. Osato has a lot of money. He can do whatever he wants. But I'm with you on the statue. That was a nice touch. Number 10, we're back in Osato's office when Helga is there speaking with Bond and Mr. Osato. And she's wearing an orange blouse. Now, why is she wearing orange? The orange story, and there's a story behind the color orange. And there's no other word in English that rhymes with orange, by the way. Now, orange is interesting, and it's a hint about her personality. So again, this is right after Osato lands in the helicopter and so on, and they're talking to Mr. Fisher, who was really Bond. This is just after Bond looks at the statue that you mentioned a minute ago. And Bond is waiting. Helga has this orange blouse on, and it's and she has reddish orange hair. She does not smile much here. And it is said now that the color orange, especially in the 1960s, was a color symbolizing duality, warmth, energy, vibrancy, like sunsets and health and that kind of thing. But it also signified danger, artificiality, toxicity, and impending death. I think this is a visual shorthand here, the color orange for tragedy. So Helga, what are you up to here? That's what we want to know. You're up to no good, I think, because you've got orange on.
Well, and the thing is that you say that it's warmth and toxicity and danger. If you notice Bond, he is just staring her down the whole time. Is it that he's smitten by her? Is it that he's trying to figure her out? It's kind of an interesting way when you look at what the color orange means, how Bond's reaction to her may fit into that.
Yeah. And you know, remember when Bond is leaving the room too, as Mr. Fisher, and Osato is onto him, Osato tells Helga, "Kill him," and he says it rather loudly, and Bond is not all that far away. I thought, what? Okay. Anyway, Helga makes a call, and as Bond is leaving, he's ambushed by two guys in a car. Well, some guys in a car who can't shoot for anything, of course. No Bond folk can shoot at anything and hit it.
Never.
And no, and after Aki shows up to save Bond again, wow, she shows up in a convertible. That's not a great car if you're a spy to be in a convertible. They've done it before with the BMW and so on later.
We'll talk about this car a little bit later, why it's there.
Not a really great car for that. But anyway, these guys in the car are attacking Bond. They decide to take this wide loop around and then chase them rather than cutting behind Aki's car and just gunning them down right then and there. You look at this at about
for the first time in this episode, just shoot them.
Just shoot them. I mean, this is about 41 minutes into the movie. You see that it's like, what? Stop your car, shoot the heck out of them, kill them right then and there. No, you take the wide loop around, let them get in the car and go in and drive off. Now you got to chase them. Anyway. All right. Now we're talking about these guys chasing Bond and Aki. And this is a controversial issue. So everybody.
You and I disagree on it.
Attention. Others may agree or disagree with this, but look at the car. In the very beginning, I mean, there are four guys in the car. Eventually, we see that when the magnet picks them up and drops them into the ocean and so on. But in the beginning, it looks like there's a couple of guys in the car. And then it looks like there's three guys in the car. You could see the driver, the guy in the back seat, and another guy in the back seat. And I don't think there's another guy in the front seat.
There is.
But Tom says there is. I've looked at it 100 times. He's looked at it 100 times. I don't see anybody in the front seat. I don't think there is anybody in the front seat. And all of a sudden now,
so you're talking about the front passenger seat here.
Front passenger seat, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a couple of guys in the car, maybe three guys in the car, and four guys in the car. And I think this changes. Now, Tom doesn't think so.
I totally disagree with you, Dan. I think you're getting played by camera angles and lighting.
No, I don't think
so. The guy is in that passenger seat the whole time, and I think you just missed him.
No. You could see right through the glass, and you could see the edge of the window frame.
Yeah, and what we're talking about is right at the beginning of that scene when they start to follow Bond.
Yeah, you could freeze frame it and look at it.
We want to know how many people you guys see here, because Dan says there's 3 at the beginning. I say there's 4 at the beginning. Tell us what you think. Because one of us missed it. This is an episode about things you missed. One of us missed the number of people in that car.
Yeah, that was Tom. All right.
No, Dan, I think that was you.
All right, enough of that. Number 11. That wasn't even a number. So they wouldn't even include that as a number.
Yeah, because we disagree on it. And we really want to hear from you guys, our listeners. Watch that scene and you tell us what you see. All right. Number 11, we're going to call out 2 actors that they used who weren't really actors.
Well, then they're not actors.
Well, but they're actors in this show, but they're not historically actors.
Okay.
So Bond goes to the sumo match, and we see the real sumo wrestler, and he shakes his hand, and that's a real wrestler, Sadanoyama Shinmatsu. Now,
easy, yeah.
He's a real yokozuna, which is the highest rank in sumo wrestling.
Okay, no, you got the real guy.
He's a real sumo guy. He's the one who gives Bond the ticket in the changing room. So
okay, that's cool.
He had the distinction of being the 50th yokozuna, which again is the highest rank. So this was a real sumo dude they brought in for this scene.
Oh, that's cool.
The next thing is the thug we talked about that Bond was fighting in Osada's office.
Yeah.
That was played by Peter High Chief Maivia. Right? He was the car driver. He was the thug. This guy was a real wrestler from Samoa. He had a successful career in the World Wrestling Federation at the time. And he also happens to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's grandfather.
Oh, wow.
A couple little background things you probably missed about 2 of the people you saw in the movie that weren't your traditional actor.
That's pretty cool. Now, when we were talking to Steven Saltzman, who's Harry Saltzman's son, he was telling us about an incident when they were there. They were there for the filming of this in Japan, and he was telling us about an incident that basically saved Harry's life and others.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't around sumo. It's a lot of people think it is, but it really was more about ninja. So what happened was Cubby Broccoli, Peter Lamont, and some of the others on the production team were scheduled to fly out of Japan, and they decided instead they canceled their reservation and went to a ninja expedition. So the ninja scenes we see in the movie in part were framed because of that expedition they went to. Now, the interesting thing about that is the plane they were supposed to be on crashed and everybody died.
Very sad.
So that was sad, but boy, you talk about a brush with death that just missed them, and they got very lucky. And it was because they wanted to know more about ninja. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to number 12. As for number 12, we need to look more closely at Aki's car, the convertible Toyota 2000 GT. This is pretty cool, and You Only Live Twice was the 2000 GT's debut. Not the convertible, but the hardtop.
Yeah, like you say, it was a hardtop. For the movie, they made it a convertible because Connery and his body double, they were too tall to fit under the top of the car.
Yeah.
Now, if you take a look at the top corners of the windshield, they're a little rough.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah, so you can tell that's how they made it a convertible, how they cut things out.
Yeah.
And Toyota only made 2 of these 2000 GT convertibles, both of them for this movie.
Yeah. Now there's a chase, of course. They're chasing Aki and Bond. And we remember the helicopter's going to come and pick him up with a magnet and drop him into the ocean. But as she's calling in and the response is coming in, this is around 42 minutes into the movie about, Bond turns around to see the electronics in the back seat. The instruments are facing forward, including a monitor or a screen with Tanaka on it. So you can turn to look at them. But what? Why would they be in the back seat? Aki can't see them while she's driving.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
It's just like a bizarre setup. Anyone else would be walking by this convertible could see them in the back seat as well. They didn't show us anything that hid them. And during this high-speed chase, there's an over-the-shoulder shot of Aki driving. But right at about 42 minutes into the movie, you will see the speedometer needle is at a high speed of 0.
Yeah, while they're being chased.
While they're being chased. I guess it's a stealth car, I guess.
Well, it's really one of the fun parts of having rear and side projection.
Yeah.
They can cause some problems. We praised continuity earlier. Here's one they missed.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
All right, so number 13 is the roof fight at the docks in Ningpo.
Well, you got to appreciate that roof fight.
Yeah, that is a kind of a neat fight up there.
That fight always got me.
So you get James Bond. He fights off 6 guys. There's maybe another 18 chasing him. I mean, these guys have a lot of henchmen, right? Now, the fun part about this is when you see a movie fight, you sometimes will catch a punch that got pulled, right? Where you see they don't really land. But almost every punch here, you can actually tell is an air punch, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't even come close. Right?
Horrible. And
Bond does get away for a moment until he's smacked on the head as he's walking away after taking a few jumps.
Yeah.
And Osada's there now. So it's kind of interesting, but it's a really cool scene. But look at the air punches and you'll laugh too.
Yeah, totally ridiculous thing. One guy, and they all have hand implements, no guns, no anything. I mean, it's like, shoot the guy.
Well, yeah, but this is Japan, and martial arts. You're not using guns.
Yeah, and Bond was pretty good fighting off 18 guys with martial arts skills. All right, number 14. Number 14 brings us to the Little Nelly sequence, and things you missed in this scene. When Q is there, and they are assembling it, Tanaka says,
"I have much curiosity, Bond-san. What is Little Nelly?"
What is Little Nelly? And I have missed this line so many times. I've watched it a million times, but I've missed it so many times when Bond says,
"Oh, she's a wonderful girl. Very small. Quite fast." Can do anything. Just your type.
That's just so perfect. He's telling Tanaka, right? All about little Nellie. Just your type.
Just your type.
Hey,
That's good.
I missed just your type a million times watching this movie. So anyway, you'll note that one and you'll chuckle when you hear that next time.
Now, the thing you're very likely to miss about this autogyro, which is what Little Nellie is, is that we first see an autogyro in the 1935 Hitchcock classic, The 39 Steps.
Yeah, that's true.
It definitely isn't. It's not as high tech as this one, but there is an autogyro in that movie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're right there. All right. Now, Q tells Bond what weapons Little Nellie has.
Now pay attention. 2 machine guns fixed.
Synchronized to what?
100 yards. We're using incendiaries and high explosives. 2 rocket launchers, forward firing on either side.
Fine.
Now, these fire heat-seeking air-to-air missiles, 60 a minute.
Good.
Flame guns, 2 of them, firing astern.
What range?
80 yards. 2 smoke ejectors next door to them. Aerial mines. Now remember, use them only when directly above target. Well, that's about the lot, I think.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And I like Bond's asking pertinent questions. What's the range? Oh, that's good. Now, how many of these weapons does Bond-son actually use? And how many helicopters are in pursuit of Bond and Little Nellie? Let's look at the helicopter.
Yeah, so you're not likely to miss the list of what Q tells Bond this Little Nellie can do. You're likely to miss which one of them he uses.
And which maybe he does not.
Yeah, but you just said something about how many helicopters. Go into that more detail.
Yeah, now the helicopter chase is cool, right? He's flying Little Nellie. He's searching for the island and all around to find out what's happening with these missing spacecraft and stuff like that. So Bond first looks down and he sees shadows and he's kind of startled. And all of a sudden you see 5 shadows down there.
Yeah, because he's not expecting anybody to be there.
Right. Now all of a sudden, boom. What are these 5 shadows? They're the shadows of the helicopters following him.
Wait, so he's got helicopters following him on what he thinks is just a reconnoiter mission where he's just checking out the area. He's not expecting anybody to show up.
No, but now you see 5 shadows down there. And so how many are actually pursuing him, though? We see later there are 4, and he even confirms there are 4 because that's what Bond says he killed with Little Nellie. And that's the number he reports back to Tanaka at about 58 minutes into the movie. The shadows are all too big for Little Nellie. And also, the key is, can it be the shadow of Little Nellie down there, and that's the 5th one? No. You look at Bond's face when he looks down and sees the 5 shadows. He's shocked. He's like, oh, what's that? That's his first clue. He's being followed. So, check that out. See what you think.
Yeah, maybe one of them was the filming helicopter.
Yeah, that might be it. It might be the filming helicopter. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, look at that. There's 5 shadows, not too big for Little Nellie, and he's only pursued by 4 actual helicopters. All right, now let's look at the weapons. We talked about the weapons that Little Nellie has, and let's see what Bond actually used. You missed one that he never used.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
All right. Flamethrowers. Did he use flamethrowers? Yeah, he used them first at about 56 minutes into the movie. One of the 4 helicopters chasing him is exploded. Aerial mines. Yeah, about a minute later, one more helicopter is blown up from the aerial mines. Machine guns, of course. Half a minute later, he shoots the machine guns. Rocket launchers. Yes, he blows up the 3rd helicopter with the rocket launchers again about a half a minute later. Air-to-air heat-seeking missiles. Yes, about a minute after the whole thing starts, he takes out the last helicopter.
Okay, you just said 5.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a 6th one here. The smoke ejectors.
Yeah.
Where do you use those?
Where did he use the smoke ejectors? They did not get used.
So, in the tank in case you need it.
Bond uses 5 out of the 6 weapons that Q put aboard Little Nellie. Usually, Bond uses all the gadgets like he did with his attaché case and From Russia with Love and so on. But here he uses 5 of the 6. Q's good.
Yeah, Q is good.
But anyway, smoke ejectors, not used.
All right, so we talked about a lot of stuff on the ground. Now we move to the air with the Little Nellie. Now let's move back up into space for number 15. Let's take a look at that Russian space capsule.
Yes.
This would fall under a continuity problem. When the Blofeld spaceship captures the Russian capsule in space, there's this red reflection that we see on the bottom and the side of the Spectre craft. It looks kind of like it's supposed to be the sunrise or sunset or whatever.
Something reflecting.
Yeah, something's reflecting there. And then the capsule rotates to reverse course. And the reflection goes along with the rotation. So the reflection starts out horizontal, then it goes vertical, and then as the thing
Without
goes
changing.
Yeah, and then it goes, and then as it's finished reversing, it's now on the top instead of the bottom. So it didn't change at all during the vertical rotation. That's definitely a continuity error.
Yeah.
Something you very, very likely missed in You Only Live Twice.
And it's about an hour into the movie, an hour and a minute. So, yeah, I guess it wasn't a reflection after all then. It was something else. Not done well, though. All right. Number 16. For 16, we go to Blofeld's apartment lair on the volcano base, the Piranha Room. There's a portrait of people in the background on an easel. Yes, it's a version of Hans Holbein the Younger's painting, commonly known as Darmstadt Madonna or Madonna of Burmeister Meyer.
I'm glad I gave you that part to say.
Now, we remember in Dr. No, we saw the Duke of Wellington painting in his lair. Well, here, the inclusion of this specific painting might be a deliberate choice, because the original artwork is notorious for having multiple copies whose authenticity has long confused even art experts. So maybe Blofeld has the original, or maybe it's a copy. It appears that Holbein was inspired, though, by Leonardo da Vinci's Virgin and Child. It's not an actual painting reproduction. It's probably for a variety of reasons, but maybe it represents that Italian Renaissance composition and the masters like Leonardo and maybe even Raphael. But anyway, it's a cool painting.
All right, now, the painting's presence here isn't accidental. It visually underlines Blofeld's God complex and obsession with possession. He's the best of the best. Yeah. And religious iconography really is what Blofeld is all about here. We've seen that in From Russia with Love as well. This whole attitude of greatness and control. And it comes through with him having this painting.
And we see a lot more of his paintings and artwork in the lair above the fireplace and on another easel, too. So it's kind of cool. And I think it is definitely not accidental. It's there to show Blofeld's God complex, like you said, Tom. All right, then for number 17, Blofeld summons Osato and Helga to his apartment in the volcano.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's a great scene, too, because it's, again, a great lair. And the detail's tremendous, but these two are now a little scared. Blofeld shows them an x-ray of the Walter PPK.
Do you know what gun this is?
Walter PPK.
I love it how Osato is so pumped up. Oh, I know what the answer to this one is.
Yeah, you can see his face. He's got that little smirky smile, too. It's like,
yeah.
But then his face goes stern.
Only one person we know uses this sort of gun. James Bond.
Yeah, but the thing is, I thought that all the double O's got Walters, or am I wrong? Yeah, I got the impression in Dr. No that the Walter became the standard issue.
Yeah, like the attaché case, too, and From Russia with Love, that was standard issue. It does neatly advance the movie plot. So.
But Osato thought he was dead.
But Bond is dead.
It was in all the newspapers.
Rubbish. Bond is alive. Unless you killed him, Mr. Osato. Don't tell me you let him go.
I gave number 11 the strictest orders to eliminate him.
And did she?
She failed.
Okay, all right. There's a lot going on here. Osato, thinking Helga killed Bond after the goons missed him getting into the car. Remember, she tried to trap Bond in the plane, and she parachuted out. So, Osato is thinking, probably legitimately here, that Bond is dead. But wait, Helga, and this is the part we miss, Helga oddly says about Bond being dead.
It was in all the newspapers.
Now, she's referring to the early burial at sea of Bond scene, where the newspaper read, British naval commander murdered.
Okay, so she knows she jumps out of this plane. She thinks the newspaper coverage from a day before or 2 days before
whenever
will cover it? Wow.
No, that did cover it. I mean, she's lying here.
Yeah.
She's either lying here or it's bad writing because
It's confusing writing, that's for sure.
yeah, Helga's trying to throw Osato under the bus here by saying that Bond was dead already. Or what? This is a mistake one way or the other. They thought Bond was dead. Osato, defending himself and throwing Helga under the bus, now says he gave her the strictest orders, like we just heard, to Helga, number 11, to eliminate him, and she failed. Ay.
Yeah, it does seem like there's some double speak going on here.
Yeah. When she said you should have killed him yourself, you had plenty of opportunities. How could she be thinking that when she thought he was dead already from the newspaper thing? This is the key here. What is being missed, which is why I think bad writing here, is her reference to the newspaper thing.
It could also be an editing thing. Maybe things got edited or displayed out of order, and so something that worked at one point didn't work anymore.
Yeah. So in reality, we heard Osato in his office when Bond was posing as Mr. Fisher. When he was leaving, he tells Helga to kill him. Her goons, or their goons, failed, obviously. It looks like Helga, with her "it's all in the newspaper," is either lying to number one or is trying to save her butt. But again, it's either a slip on the writing or she has a character that is totally confused.
Well, okay, now I'm totally confused.
Yeah. I mean, but Blofeld, he doesn't like slip-ups, though.
No, he doesn't. He tells him that.
This organization does not tolerate failure.
I know.
Right, so this is so much like From Russia with Love, when Rosa Klebb and Kronstein are having to meet Blofeld at the end when the mission failed. Right, it's the exact same setup. So let's take a listen to what it sounded like in From Russia with Love.
Inspector always delivers what he promises. Our whole organization depends on our keeping those promises. I warn you, we do not tolerate failure, number 3. You know the penalty.
I really like how they do that parallel.
Yeah.
All right, that's about it for number 17. So it's time to move on to number 18, where we get the scene where they come out of the water after escaping that gas.
In the cave there,
in the cave. So they get out of the water. So they swim away from that poisonous gas cave. Kissy has that wonderful white bikini on. Bond has this light jacket or a long shirt over another shirt. He's got a short scarf, long dark pants, and shoes. Just the thing you want to be swimming in. And it's from that when Bond identifies the gas. And he sees the sulfur on the walls. It's probably an old volcano tube. Dan, you and I have both been to volcano tubes in Hawaii.
Yeah,
volcano tubes are pretty cool.
Yes, they are.
And the deadly gas is used to guard the entrance of the Spectre volcano base because and the gas that was here was phosgene gas.
Which is a real gas. So they, again, props because phosgene gas is a real gas. So what do we miss here in this scene, Tom?
Okay, well, phosgene is a real chemical weapon known for being colorless and highly toxic. It's used by Blofeld to eliminate intruders like the local islanders. It causes a buildup of fluid in the lungs, a pulmonary edema, and it leads to death. It's estimated that as many as 85% of the 91,000 gas deaths in World War I were a direct result of phosgene or its related agent, diphosgene. So this gas that Bond identifies is a real thing. You likely, as you're watching it, would have just missed the fact that it has this history.
Yeah,
but it's there, and we want to point it out to you.
Yeah. So that was a good use of that in the movie in terms of its capabilities. All right, so we got to remember here, like you said, what Bond was wearing here. He's carrying nothing with him, and he just dove into the water and swam from the boat away from the deadly gas that we're talking about here. And now they're climbing the volcano. And this is about an hour and 26 minutes into the movie. And they're still climbing. They're climbing and climbing and climbing. Bond is carrying nothing with him. Still time for a kiss.
Well, it appears he's carrying nothing with him.
It appears that, he has nothing in his hands and whatever. And, of course, they're climbing and climbing. They got a long way to go. Of course, there's still time for a couple of kisses here and there, though. You got to break it up every now and then when climbing a volcano like that. So they have a little fun. But they see this helicopter now disappear into the volcano. And it's like, what? So they got to track that. And at about this time in the movie, hour and a half into the movie, Bond and Kissy get to the rim of the crater finally. In the meantime, the U.S. is launching another rocket with the Jupiter capsule. So, as they said before, Tanaka said it's about midnight Japanese time that they're going to do this. So we assume, okay, now it's nighttime. It's midnight when this is happening, and we see now it's dark, and Bond and Kissy are still at the volcano's rim. Hours, I suppose, have passed. Of course, Bond discovers it is metal, not water, and then he sends Kissy off to get help.
Okay, Dan, this is supposed to be an episode on what we missed.
Yeah.
So far, we saw all that. So what did we miss
Well,
here?
I'm getting there. Okay. Have a little patience.
Okay.
Bond, we've said what he was wearing and what he's not wearing and not carrying. Bond reaches around his waist and he takes headgear that pulls over and covers his head with just the face showing. Okay, that's small enough. But why was he carrying that when he was checking out the cave? That's my first question. Why are you carrying that?
You mean that's not likely to be standard issue when you go spelunking?
Yeah. Then, about a minute later, he's adjusting knee suction cups around his knees. What? Where did those come from? And why would he possibly have knee suction cups with him when he's on that boat?
I've got the answer for you, Dan. It's movie magic.
Yeah. He'd have no reason to. They look bigger than anything he could have around his waist. And the real key is, why would he possibly have these with him while checking out this gas cave? He's got all this stuff. Oh, just in case I need suction cups to climb a volcano inside, and it might be metal where I can stick the suction cups. I mean, it's crazy. And suction cups for his hands, too. He's got that, too. This is huge because this is exactly what he needed to navigate his way down into the volcano. And he had that when he left to go into this cave.
And we never saw Q give him that. Usually when he happens to have exactly what he needs, Q gave it to him earlier.
And also, he's in a totally gray or light blue suit now. It appeared, though, earlier, as you said, I think he said his pants were dark and so on. But now it seems like his pants are I think they're light blue or gray or something like that.
Well, maybe it's when we first saw them, they were wet, and so they appeared dark.
Yeah, but we see him swimming underwater with the same pants on, and they don't appear dark. So,
oh, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, so there you go. And then about a few minutes later, he has more equipment to blow the lock off the cell door when the captured astronauts are imprisoned. Wow, that's a lot of stuff he took when he went to the cave, and well hidden. And geez, it survived water and everything else. That's
well,
nice.
He had that little pouch around his waist, that little thing, right? Yeah. That probably was waterproof, could hold 4 suction cups, explosives, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. But anyway, so he's there. He observes the rocket being prepared for launch in the volcano, and he sees the monorail transporting crew, which is very cool because it was actually a working monorail. But, hey, you got $1 million set here. Why not?
And we have to remember, that's $1 million in 1967 dollars.
Yeah.
For number 19, we get a scene that just makes me laugh because we see this all the time. Blofeld's entering his monorail to escape the assault. Bond is just standing there right in front of him. And Blofeld points his gun at Bond and says,
"Goodbye, Mr. Bond."
So he's all defiant. "Goodbye, Mr. Bond."
Yes.
And then he gets hit. You hear at the end there, he gets hit with the throwing star from Tanaka.
Yeah.
Right. But 2 things here. First off is, why didn't he just shoot him right away? You had the shot. Nobody ever does it. Just shoot him. But the second thing is, Bond just stands there. He doesn't try to escape. He doesn't try to jump out of the way. He just stands there. He doesn't try to attack Blofeld. It's just him and Blofeld. And chances are Bond's a better fighter than Blofeld. But he just stands there waiting to be shot. That cracks me up. Something that when I first saw it, I didn't catch it. But when, as we rewatch these movies, I'm like, every time I see it now, it's like, what is he doing just standing there?
Very un-Bond-like.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, that's a good one. I like that.
Maybe it was a premonition to the end of No Time to Die when he just stands there.
Yeah. All right, we got number 20 for you here. When Bond's blowing up the Spectre spacecraft, when he finally figures it all out, you'll notice It's literally yards behind the Jupiter spacecraft. The debris might have taken out the Jupiter spacecraft from the explosion. But I guess, because well, what's the alternative? I got to blow it up or they're going to capture it again. But take a close look at this one. Really, it's again, easy to miss because you're not paying attention to it, but it literally it would have damaged or destroyed.
The debris from that thing exploding would have either hit the thing with a shockwave or it would have just pushed it away. It wouldn't have just left it sitting there.
Right. You said shockwave. We're in space here, Tom. I don't think there's any shockwave in space. There's no air to rapidly compress, so I think that would be out.
Yeah, but if you use a jet, you do a jet, it pushes you the other way in air.
Yeah.
In space.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be that same thing here?
I don't know. I have to check that out because explosions create shock waves by rapidly compressing air, like a sound wave, but it's much stronger. So I don't think so. Anyway, that's not even a bonus. That's number 20. All right, we got some bonuses though, and they're cool. And here we go. Here's bonus number 1. When Tanaka's ninjas arrive to assault the crater, you ever wonder why Kissy is returning with him? Still in her bikini?
Well, there was no time to change, Dan.
No time to change. That's what they should have named the last movie. I thought, and she's, come on, put some gear on. Everyone else has gear. You're in your white bikini. Okay, all right. Here's another bonus for you. When Blofeld shoots Osato instead of Bond, when Blofeld's going to escape in through the wall there. Catch this. Watch how scared his cat is. It hears the shock from the gun. It runs and hides between the legs of Blofeld's goon, and then is gone the very next shot, the very next scene.
Well, and also watch how Blofeld's arms are, because it's like he still thinks he's holding the cat.
Yeah. That's a good one. All right,
yeah, that is a good one. All right, so another bonus. When that volcano opens, it's kind of like the curtain opening on a play that's about to begin, or an opera.
I like that. That's good.
Or any other story that gets presented. We're opening you into this new world.
Okay. We'll throw another one in. I like how when the ninjas are entering the crater, I think the sound is focusing on the attack, and the music is nothing or hardly there. It kind of reminded me of when Bond skis off the cliff in The Spy Who Loved Me. And when it went silent, and it was perfectly silent in the Spy Who Loved Me, it's kind of like that here when they're coming down into the crater. And I think the focus was good on the sound effects of them instead of music. So that was pretty cool.
Here's a bonus for you. When Osato asks what happened to the previous managing director, Williamson, when Bond is being Mr. Fisher in Osato's office, Bond tells Osato how Williamson dies. And then we get this great response. Osato says,
He died rather suddenly, poor chap.
Ah, so? From what?
He fell into a pulverizer at the works.
Ah, so? How shocking.
Now, I love that, how shocking, because that is obviously yet another callback to Goldfinger.
Shocking. Positively shocking.
Yeah, shocking. That's good. Goldfinger. I like callbacks. All right. And we'll go back to the chase again when Bond and Aki are escaping the henchmen from Osato Chemicals. Again, a nice callback to Goldfinger when Aki tells Tiger, arrange for usual reception, please. And a helicopter picks up the car with a magnet, like the Lincoln was picked up in Goldfinger at the metal scrap yard. So that was kind of cool. And this time, of course, the drop is in the ocean instead of a pressing engagement and crushing the Lincoln. But hey, another connection there.
All right. Another bonus is how the spaceship lands inside the Volcano rocket base. That's not how NASA or Russia was planning to do spacecraft reentry when this movie was created. And it wasn't until the space shuttle in 1981 that reusable flights from orbit actually occurred.
That's true.
But there are a few companies, most notably SpaceX and Blue Origin, that have successfully recovered rocket parts for reuse, like the first stage rocket. Yeah. And the SpaceX rocket first stage flies back to its target, and it looks very similar to what we see here in You Only Live Twice. I think that's
predicting the future.
You'd miss it if you didn't follow what SpaceX was doing. And at the time you saw the movie, you wouldn't have missed it because that wasn't reality. But now it kind of is.
Yeah, hey, that's cool. All right. Hey, we did 20 things you missed and you only live twice. With a few extra bonuses added, too. So I think that's a wrap. All right, this has been Dan.
And Tom.
And we thank you wholeheartedly for listening. We appreciate it, and we would appreciate it if you would help us out by subscribing to our show, Cracking the Code of Spy Movies, in your favorite podcast app. Thanks.